have a detective played by Tom Hardy who is richly rewarded for arresting innocent people, which is, say, political prisoners. He's a member of the state police. And he decides to redeem himself by going after someone who is genuinely guilty, a serial killer. But in this society, they're saying there can be no crime. The communist society posited this idea that serial killers were a result of Western decadent society. And so he can't admit that there's a crime, so how do you solve that crime? But he sort of decides he's going to go after it anyway and risk his life to sort of do that. And that's the sort of the core of the story.
It takes place in Russia, 1953-54. And the two main characters is Tom Hardy's character Leo, who's an MGB agent, and I'm his wife, Raisa, and she's a school teacher, and they've been married for like 8 years when the movie starts. But they don't know each other. They're both like trapped in this environment, almost like emotional prisoners in a time where you can't allow yourself to be yourself.
You know, they mistrust each other, so it's not, you know, a straightforward love story. In some ways she's afraid of him, he's not aware of that. Then they discover the truth, and then they had to go to the love stories. They had to do all of these things. It's a massive sort of art, and they do each bit brilliantly. You believe every element of it. I think when I came out of the movie, the thing that I am most sort of pleased with and proud of is the love story and their relationship, which is, I think, very emotional, very powerful.
They go out on the road to find a killer, and then they start to discover themselves and each other, and it's almost like a reverse love story, and they kind of fall in love in the film. I love it. I love the way it kind of works.
When I wrote the book, I didn't have an agent, I didn't have a book deal. It was me in a sort of study, tapping away, hoping that it would be published. And actually it was bought before it was even a book. It was just this sort of bundle of pages with an elastic band around it. And the manuscript got sent out, and it somehow wound up in Scott Free's hands. And I got this call from Ridley Scott's PA saying, you know, would you take a call from Ridley Scott? And I was like, yeah, okay. And you know, you sit down and you try and be calm and coherent. I'm sure I wasn't. But then we had this amazing breakfast where he was describing how he wanted to bring this world to life. And you kind of sat there and had these sort of glimpses of the movie sort of flash at you, and you thought, wow.
It feels like an old school drama, you know, old school kind of film with you have the thriller, you have the killings, and it's kind of harsh, almost like, you know, when I saw Citizen X or you know, Dr. Zhivago, but still there's like a very kind of tender love story. So the combination of these two different bodies was what I kind of fell in love with.
You've got this police detective, which I think lots of people are familiar with and they understand that as a proposition, but on top of that you have the fear of the state. So this is a police investigation operating within incredible tension. So the tension within a police investigation sort of is magnified by the fact that they're not even allowed to admit that there's a crime. So you have everything. You've got the love story, you've got the police, and then you've got the political element too.